Today, I want to share with you my 3 favorite pro wrestling matches of all time and what I love about each of them. I'm Mike Quackenbush, and this is Till We Make It. If you are passionate about the craft of professional wrestling and you're never done learning all about it, then you've landed in the exact right place. Join the Till We Make It tribe. Subscribe down below and ring the notification bell too. That one's more important than you think it is. Or if you'd like to take your participation and support of Till We Make It to the next level, consider joining me over on Patreon. When you do, you'll get access to class recordings that I share, excerpts from my books like Toolbox, 7 Keys to Becoming a Better Performer, and Pro Wrestling History, as well as access to my podcast series, Kayfabe 2.0. You get instant access to all of this and more by following the link, which I'll put down below in the descriptus. A few weeks back, a loyal member of the Till We Make It tribe asked in the comment section down below what my favorite matches of all time are. And I assume, based on the phrasing, they did not mean matches of my own, which is a good thing, because just between you and me, I hate most of my own matches. And having wrestled a few thousand of them, that's a pretty large back catalog to detest. But when it comes to my favorite matches of all time, the ones I have nothing to do with, well, that list is always a little bit in flux. But I picked out 3 for you today, which make the list more than any other matches do, and they happen to be from 3 consecutive years. So I thought we would start with the oldest match on my list, which also happens to be the shortest match. It's Owen Hart against the 1-2-3 Kid from the semifinal round of King of the Ring 1994 in Baltimore, Maryland. And it only runs 3 minutes and 37 seconds. But I assure you, this is the most action-packed 3.5 minutes of wrestling the WWF has ever produced. Now, weird commentary configuration aside, I don't know why they thought putting Art Donovan with Gorilla and Macho Man was a good idea. This match is enabled in part by the fact that Owen and the Kid are both peaking in 1994. They are poised to put on a show-stealing performance, and they do not disappoint. Part of the reason this match can burn as hot and as fast as it can is because I think it functions as the third act of the Kid's story on the pay-per-view. So earlier on, he gets all of his Act 1 stuff done in his quarterfinal match against Jeff Jarrett. And then there is a post-match angle, which effectively serves as Act 2. So as he's walking out for this next round match with Owen Hart, he's in the third act of his own story. And that's why this feels like a third act. For my money, this match has the hottest start of any match you will ever see. And one of the many reasons that I love it is, from that moment on, you just cannot look away. To arrive at the next match on my personal countdown, we have to jump forward 1 year to August 26th, 1995. We're headed right down Route 95, not far from where I'm standing here, to the unair-conditioned ECW arena. That is where the best 2 out of 3 falls match between Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko took place as their Extreme Championship Wrestling farewell appearance. One of the many things I love about this match is that in terms of its palpable emotion, this is a 10 out of 10, and it is bolstered by one of the most outstanding one-man booth commentary performances ever recorded by, of course, Joey Styles. I'm of the opinion that Eddie and Dean don't reach their in-ring peaks until just a few years later when they're in WCW. And although they haven't crested yet, what I love about this is, even though it is the last time they will be performing for ECW, and it would be very easy to only play their greatest hits at that time, they're still out there trying new things. You can bet, as a guy who's been referred to as the master of 1,000 holds for the last decade plus, I watched a whole lot of the man of 1,000 holds, Dean Malenko. And there's stuff he tries in this match that he never did during his runs with All Japan as a tag wrestler or his singles runs in New Japan, and he never attempts again during his WCW or WWE runs. So that dedication to innovation is something I really respect. The crowd knows they are watching something special. The performers realize how special the match is. Everyone involved in this realizes they are witnessing something very special, and that resonates right through the screen when you watch it back. Even now, 25 plus years later, this match is lovingly crafted by master craftsmen, and it shows in every detail. The match in the top position on my personal countdown hasn't changed for even a moment in the last 20 years. It took place on October 10th, 1996 as part of a Michinoku Pro card called These Days, held in Sumo Hall. And I still remember very vividly where I was when I first saw this 10-man tag team match. I was sat on the floor in a dorm room up at Penn State University campus on a night that it was raining cats and dogs outside. And there was a small TV atop a mini fridge where we were all gathered together watching a VHS copy of These Days. By the time the whole tape was over, everybody else in the room had fallen asleep. So I rewound the 10-man tag, all 32 minutes and 7 seconds of it, and rewatched the entire thing from start to finish, because once it put its hooks in my brain, it had me reeled in. And I couldn't process everything that I had seen in this match in just one go. So I needed to start watching it again right away. This 10-man tag match pits the Michinoku Pro home team, or Sekigun, of Gran Hamada, Super Delphin, Gran Naniwa, Tiger Mask 4, and Masato Yakashiji against the full-on Kaientai Deluxe stable: Dick Togo, Men's Teo, Shiryu, Takamichinoku, and Shoichi Funaki. To me, this is Michinoku Pro at their peak, this exact match. And because I am so fascinated by this match, I went about hunting down everything I could find on it. I got the Japanese wrestling magazines from the week that they covered this exact show so that I could see all of the amazing photographs that they took. I went out and hunted down a commercial release to VHS, which included one additional camera angle that wasn't there in the televised edit. And I make a point at least once a year, every year, to go back and watch this in its entirety. I've definitely watched this match more than 50 times, and I never get tired of it. I often think of the creation of a pro wrestling match as being akin to making a painting. And in the case of a singles match, where there's just one wrestler against another wrestler, that is like a painter walking up to a blank canvas to create something new, and on their palette, they have just 2 colors to work with. Or in the case of a tag team match, they would have 4 colors to work with. But I think when you have more colors on your palette, you are able to create more vibrant, more diverse works of art. And this 10-man tag team match is that concept taken to its zenith. I'm not here trying to argue that these are the best matches of all time. These are simply my favorite wrestling matches of all time. They are not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Owen Hart misses a dive in the opening seconds of his King of the Ring match with the 1-2-3 Kid. There's a springboard something or other, hope nobody notices what this is, right in the middle of the Eddie Guerrero-Dean Malenko match. And there's tons of flubs and missteps in that 32-minute 10-man tag from Michinoku Pro. And all of these imperfections do not diminish my love of the matches one bit. Simply put, there is no such thing as a perfect wrestling match. It just doesn't exist. And there is no objective measure for the quality of a pro wrestling match either, as desperately as Dave Meltzer might need you to believe there is. It isn't possible. There's just what you like and what you don't like. And in the case of these 3 matches, I love them. I am glad that making this video for you gave me an excuse to go back and rewatch those 3 matches all over again, because each one of them reminds me of why I fell in love with pro wrestling in such a deep and indelible way that I simply had to learn how to make some of that magic myself. Is there a match that makes you feel that way? Well, let me know. Drop it below in the comment section. And if you want a better understanding of Michinoku Pro's place in the greater strata of pro wrestling history, grab my new audiobook, Pro Wrestling History, 6 Threads and 16 Decades, picks up right after the U.S. Civil War and then rockets forward through time and 6 unique innovations that helped professional wrestling to blossom in the decades that followed.